So here is the truth about the heat wave across France and all of Europe these last few weeks. Right now it's 37 degrees. I'm in the south of France. I'm enjoying a very nice walk around the area in which I live. And no, we are not all on fire. We are not all burnt to a crisp. And everything is not shades of dark red and black and brown as we see all over the media. It is actually just a nice day. I'm currently in the south of France, and as you know, there is a heat wave ongoing. It's quite hot. It has been like this now for about 3 or 4 weeks, and it's still going to be quite warm in the coming week or so. Now, we've seen all over the media, of course, I'm primarily watching the British media, that here in Europe, particularly south of France, Spain, and other places, we are all melting. We are all in a melting pot. Everything is burning, the whole world is on fire, and everything is red. All of the weather channels, of course, display everything in dark red and black and brown, as if we were all scorched like burnt toast. So what I'm going to give you today is a little bit of anecdotal evidence, well, quite frankly, the truth. I think one thing that's quite obvious is when the temperature is like this, there's actually not many people around, because coming out for a walk in the 37-degree heat is not particularly comfortable. So where we live, it has been very, very quiet recently, and that being the main reason. But of course, a lot of people where we live have swimming pools. So of course they are enjoying themselves outside, barbecuing, swimming, and quite frankly, most likely having a good time. Our kids have certainly loved it. We don't have a swimming pool, but we have a neighbour who does. And our neighbour have children who go to the same school as our children, and they have been going there almost every single day to cool off in the pool, and they are absolutely loving it. There's been a couple of injuries, the most prominent one being burnt fingers, most likely from my son putting his hands on the tiles when he came out of the pool. All of his fingertips were burnt. So there are some downsides to the heat, of course. Now there's been a lot in the media also about some tragic events. I saw the news about the ones in France where people have drowned, and unfortunately, whilst a tragedy, I wouldn't say that's particularly down to the heat, is it? I mean, we all have choices, and jumping into rivers that you shouldn't jump into is probably not the best idea. So yes, it's too hot, but we don't need to do anything dangerous, do we? Another very contentious issue is air conditioning. I don't know why it should be contentious, because many countries around the world have air conditioning in almost every single home. My wife, being from China, is well aware of this, and the heat here has been difficult for her to deal with, simply because back in China, where they have a similar climate during the summer, albeit maybe more humid, but still similar temperatures, high 30s, quite often 38, 39, 40 degrees at the height in Shanghai. But she has air conditioning, and that's what she said. She said, but we have air conditioning, so we don't suffer, we can go inside and we can be comfortable. And I don't think there's anything wrong with being comfortable. But it seems to be the case that in the West, maybe not in America, but certainly in Europe, that air conditioning is somewhat demonized by governments and by the media, albeit on the pretense that by not utilizing air conditioning, we are saving on energy and thereby somehow saving the planet. Now, can you get by without air conditioning? Yes, you can. We don't have it. Most of the houses around here don't have air conditioning. So what do? One of the things we have done is bought fans, and we had to buy quite a few of them simply because we have both a downstairs and upstairs in our house. And the upstairs, when it's plus 35 degrees every single day, we just cannot cool it down. It is impossible. It's plus 30 up there constantly, even with the shutters closed, which we keep closed during the day to keep the sun out of the house. And even by opening them up in the morning and trying to get as much fresh air, okay, it's about 22, 23 degrees by the time, 6, 7 a.m. in the morning. It's still quite warm, but much cooler than 30, right? So we open up the windows and we get as much cool air in as we can before finally closing everything once the temperature is the same as it is inside. But it doesn't work. It doesn't work. It doesn't cool it down enough. And during the evening, it's very difficult to sleep. The kids really suffered because we do have rooms upstairs. We don't have enough space downstairs unless we brought the mattresses down, which is actually something one of our neighbours done for their children because they simply couldn't sleep. So we have fans blowing over us when we're sleeping, not wearing very many clothes, and certainly not under the covers. So you do what you can. And is it livable? Yes, it's livable. Is it comfortable? Not really. I mean, if you have to live like that, you have to live like that. Would it be better if we had air conditioning? Absolutely. Now, I said already about the media and governments kind of demonizing it on the basis of using too much energy, which again, I don't think is a bad thing. Using energy is a very good thing. I think you can see quite clearly over the course of history that cultures and civilizations that have used energy, and they have an abundance of energy, have developed and grown much faster than those that don't. I think that's quite obvious, and we can see it with the countries that exist today. China consumes a huge amount of energy. And I'm not going to display all the facts and figures here because you can go and look it up. If you switched off everything in France, if you completely shut down all of our power and stopped driving cars, it would make absolutely no difference whatsoever, simply because countries like China consume so much energy that it dwarfs anything that we use. And so sacrificing our comfort on the basis of saving the planet seems to me to be folly, quite frankly. Now, I don't think that this is a cultural thing. Everybody I've spoke to would like to have air conditioning. Everybody. And some people go out and buy these mobile air conditioning units and for maybe one room, their bedroom, and they can maybe cool the room down by 5 or 6 degrees with these units. They're noisy, they're not particularly efficient. It really fascinates me that we know global temperatures are going up by a little bit, albeit. But they still build houses here, brand new houses. They are building brand new houses over there. There's a few new houses around. Not a single one has air conditioning built into it. This to me is crazy. I mean, you can retrofit a house with air conditioning. It's not exactly very difficult, is it? But to build a new house, knowing that things are like this, and we still don't put in air conditioning when we have quite long summers here, quite hot summers, obviously, and we still don't do this. Why? It doesn't make any sense whatsoever to me. Another thing that annoys me on the energy point is that, for me, the consumption of energy is a good thing. We progress, we develop with the consumption of energy. Okay, I think that's obvious. But energy can come from clean sources. And France is one country that has some clean sources of energy, albeit nuclear, reasonably clean. So you can condemn the use of energy on the basis of destroying the planet, which I think is a bit extreme. If, of course, these sources of energy are incredibly inefficient and unclean. But that's not necessarily the case, is it, with renewables? And we're producing more and more energy from the renewables now. So I do not see and I don't understand why we do this to ourselves. I don't think it's the people in general. I think it's imposed top-down from governments and spread widely by the media, unfortunately. But you can see quite clearly that we're not on fire here. It's a very nice day. It's warm. I mean, it's a little bit too warm for me, but it's not as bad as they make out, is it? Not even close. There are, of course, people who suffer more than others. And I would imagine if you were living in a flat right now, for example, it could be quite difficult if you don't have air conditioning installed. And so yeah, I feel for people that can't do much to get the heat out of the house or out of the flat where they live, especially in the evening when you're trying to sleep. So why not allow people or build new apartments adapted for the environment that the apartment is going to be in, which is a climate that is slightly warmer than it might have used to have been. Probably some people are going to think the complete opposite to me and tell me that we don't need AC and that we can survive without it, and that it's for the greater good and it's better for the planet and all of this. But I don't see the argument. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't think it's logical nor rational. And we are making people suffer for no reason at all. But like I say, it's perfectly livable, in my opinion and in my experience. I come from a climate that's obviously much colder than this. A nice day when I was younger, coming from Scotland, was I don't know, like 22, 23 degrees would be an absolutely fantastic day. And quite frankly, when I walk out my door, it reminds me of when I've been to places like Abu Dhabi, when I lived in Africa for a little while. It reminds me of that feeling, just having that warm air constantly on you. But in these places, everybody has air conditioning. I mean, even where I was living in Africa, in Point Noir, every single building had air conditioning. Okay, maybe in some of the poorer areas, of course, maybe they don't. And they live like we're living, and just have to cope and deal with it, using the methods that are at your disposal. So there you go. I felt absolutely compelled to make a little video with me ranting about the temperature and AC and how good life actually is, because I'm quite frankly fed up of seeing on the media the doom and gloom and painting every single story, even a good story. Sometimes you have nice weather and you just want to go out and enjoy it. But painting even these things as disasters. So there you go, the truth. Things are not as bad as they are portrayed here in the south of France, right next to the Pyrenees, where right now it's like a ghost town because it's too hot and everybody is indoors, or in their pools in their backyard, which all the kids enjoy. They have a great time, so let's not catastrophize too much and try to enjoy the nice weather. So please, before you go, tell me what you think. Sometimes it's very interesting to read the comments and people's opinions. It's nice to hear the other side of the story, to hear another opinion, and generally I do read them all, if not for the interest, but also for the laughs.